Who here is a morning person? I have to say, I did not become a morning person until I was actually in college, which is really random to become a morning person in college. But at the time, I was teaching group exercise classes at our university at the rec center, and the president of the university would come to my 5:30 a.m. Monday morning step class. And she'd wear like these big scrunchy socks, and it was really funny. But anyways, I was terrified because I was the kid in high school who like showed up late to school consistently because I would sleep through alarms. I just wouldn't get up. I used to love to sleep late. And in college, I would set an alarm, and my dad, no joke, would call me every Monday morning because he got up early for work too, to make sure that I was up, because we were instructed from our director, like, do not show up late for this class that she's coming to, and you better be here, first of all. So I really became a morning person because of exercise and because of my job. And I've carried that forward into my work life, into my work from home life. So there is a misconception about people who work from home. It's like, oh, wow, they get to sleep in and take naps during the day. And, like they just like, I don't know, it just somehow magically gets done. Honestly, you have to be even more disciplined than if you were going somewhere to a job. And I can say that because I used to go somewhere for a job, and I would set my alarm, and I would press snooze, and I would press snooze, and I would press snooze, and I would get up and do my workout, and I would do a longer workout and just run over and then, show up right on time, skin of my teeth, to work. But working from home, I have to tell you, I wake up even earlier, and I get up out of bed. My alarm on my phone, no joke, says, get up. For real, get up. So I usually wake up every morning between 4 and 5 a.m. And honestly, it's because my husband sleeps later. And right now I just have one kid, hopefully two, maybe sometime in the near future. We're thinking about that one. But right now I have one. He's 18 months old, and he's a pretty early riser. So, I like my mornings with him to be special and to go smoothly. And so I don't want to be rushed and stressed and working when he gets up. I want that to be a great time. So I use the quietness of the morning. I have to say it's my favorite time of day, when nobody else in my house is awake yet, and I'm either starting to work on my business for the day or getting my workout done. The other times that I have during the week to work on my business is when my son takes his nap, okay, which is usually like an hour to 2 hours, so it's not that long. And that's where I'm either working on my business or doing my workout for the day. I kind of flip-flop those depending on the day. And then he does go to an MDO twice a week, so I'm home for part of that time, and so that's when I get some stuff done. Sometimes I do ask the help of my husband if he's home in the evening and I need to kind of just get a couple things done. He helps with our son while I do that. But honestly, I try not to work in the evenings unless he's not here or something. Then of course I'll do some stuff. But if my husband's home and my son is still awake, I want that to be family time. And I think it's important that you are able to separate work from your family. And this is where the lines kind of get crossed a lot, because it's a little bit hard at first when you start working from home, again, either for somebody else or for yourself as an entrepreneur, to set boundaries and to set those guidelines. So, I want you to think about the time in your life when you were the most structured on a schedule, when you were the most productive, when you learned the most. And it was probably elementary school, middle school, high school, probably elementary school, because they had you on a really tight schedule back then. Think about it. You were learning so many different subjects. You had a scheduled time to eat. You had a scheduled time to play for a break, and everything was just set up so perfectly, and that's why we were so successful back then. So I want you to think of your days like that when you're working from home. Let's say you don't work from home yet, and you work somewhere else, but you have a lunch break. I have to be honest, when I first started working my coaching business, for the first year, I still had a different full-time job, and it wasn't fitness related, and I was miserable. But anyways, I hated that job. But I did have to do that job, right? And I had to show up, and I had to do a good job, so I used my lunch hour. Everybody else would be going off to lunch somewhere, and I would either go to my car or go work on my computer somewhere in private and work on my business for that hour, and it was kind of what I like to call a power hour. I got a lot of things done in a structured amount of time. So use mornings and use your breaks wisely. There's never going to be a time in life where you have more time than you do right now. Maybe one day when you're like old and retired, but not right now, right? You're either working, or you have kids, or you're planning a wedding, or you're in somebody else's wedding, or you have a vacation coming up, or the holidays are here. Whatever. We have every excuse in the book, right? Life is busy, and there's really not going to be a time when life isn't busy. So I encourage you to write out a work schedule. Seriously, what time do you wake up? Hopefully it's early. So put that hour, let's say 5 to 6 a.m., 6 to 7 a.m., 7 to 8 a.m., 8 to 9 a.m., 9 to 10 a.m., all the way to when you go to sleep by hours. You could do it in 30-minute increments if you want, but write what you're doing. Write your commutes in there. Write your errands in there. Write, your appointments for the day in there. When do you have lunch? When do you do your workout if you exercise? When do you eat dinner or make dinner? Everything, write it down, and you're going to be able to move things around and find nuggets of time where you're able to work towards your business, okay? And if you work from home, you really need to set up a structure, especially if you have kids, around what those kids are doing, okay? There's really nothing like glamorous about doing the same things over and over and over every day. But pointing out those key items that you need to make sure that you're doing every day for your specific business is what is going to build success as you go. People want to work with consistent people. So, in other words, if you're my hairdresser and I go to you for you to cut my hair, I want to know what to expect each time, right? Like, I don't want you one time to give me a mohawk and then the next time to give me the best haircut ever. I want you to be consistent in your line of work, and people expect that from every business. So work on consistency, work on building those good habits daily, build yourself a schedule. Try to keep your family and work time separate. Work on that. Get your spouse to help you with that. And the early bird always gets the worm. So I want to leave you today with this quote about the definition of an entrepreneur. Living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. Being an entrepreneur is tough. Everybody thinks it's like, somehow these people magically ended up being super successful or really significant. No, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take you working for a few years, the hardest that you've ever worked before. But it's going to pay off because you're going to start to see what I like to call residual income from your efforts. So post questions below, and I hope this helps you get scheduled today.